We are recording.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for being a part of our broadcast this afternoon. Today's broadcast is part of our MISchoolData statewide network of webinars, and we are going to be talking about public personas in MISchoolData. And specifically, we're going to dig into 3 of the new personas out there: parents, policymakers, and media, as well as spin a web of data stories around, what are some of the conversations that you can pull from the data? What are some key questions that these stakeholder groups may have? And just to kind of help you to see where things are in the portal. If you are interested in joining us on the slide deck, there is a tiny URL listed there. And you can go ahead and either click on that, or I know that Dr. Provost is going to be adding that into the chat box. So I'm definitely excited today to be joined by my partner, Dr. Rhonda Provost. We will be moving you through the 3 personas as well as a variety of resources, and we will be recording today. Today's webinar is part of a larger element of professional development that's been going on for quite a few years across the state. Myself and Dr. Provost are a part of a larger team that helped to put together today's materials. If after today's broadcast you have additional questions or comments or concerns, would like you to reach out to your regional advisory. And they are actually reflective of what the old TRIG regions were. But if you are in the blue region, you would reach out to Kathy Miller or Carol Anthony. If you're in the green region, we also have Stan on the call today. Stan and Dave are our green region leads. The red is represented by Lisa Meredith and Dan Way. And I am part of Team Orange along with Dr. Lockman. And then purple is Valerie Masuga and Rich Marshall. Again, those folks can help you with what's happening in the portal, what are some of the professional development opportunities, and how we can help encourage the conversations around MISchoolData to continue across the state. So we're going to lead with a little bit of an overview about what MISchoolData is, because today's conversation is all about the public side and resources that are there that you may, as a school leader, be leading or guiding or participating in with some of the stakeholder groups that you come into contact with outside of your educational district organization. So we're going to take a look at it from the public side. So you may want to use this slide deck in a parent-teacher conversation, or maybe a community business leaders, or with your school board at maybe a public meeting. Lots of the resources here to kind of share out the conversation about what is public about MISchoolData. And as you know, that it's the statewide data portal. It's got PK20 data. There is a secure side and a public side, and it draws from a variety of resources and can be connected to other state platforms across the state. We pull in information, or CEPI does, into the portal from the FID, the GAD, the MSDS, STAR, etc. It also allows that opportunity for you to note at the student level, if you've got a secure login, what some of that data is that's available. There are P20 connections across the data sets that are in MISchoolData. We're going to be looking at some of these data sets on the public side, from K-12 early childhood and early programs to all the way up to high school graduation and where they go in post-secondary. So a lot of variety of data that is available in the portal that goes PK20. If you are just coming into the redesign site, you may notice that it looks quite a bit different when you go to myschooldata.org. The legacy site has been retired, and for many folks, they are really excited about the redesign because it has a lot more functionality and key features, as well as this thing called a persona. One of the things that's new is there's some search functionality, there's some new menu bars, and there are new reports. So I'm going to turn it over to Rhonda, who is going to take you next on a tour of what those new features are. If you are familiar with the legacy site, what does the new site actually look like?
All right, well, I'm going to begin with a very quick homepage overview. At the bottom left-hand corner, we have linked in this particular 2-page document. This was created by CEPI, and what it really does, these call outs really provide you with areas of the main menu, what what the role of the main menu is, specific names to the pages, where the search feature is, sign in, and then at the bottom area, what the report updates are. Here's where you can find a location. And this is just a quick snapshot, a quick overview, but it's a really nice tool, especially if you are new to the portal. It gives you just a real nice rounded out way to look at the homepage and how to navigate. Next, we have the trending, featured, and connections area. It's really about using the tabulations that are available with the new redesign. So for example, we have trending now, featured dashboards, what connections. And with those, you'll notice that under trending now, student enrollment, staffing information, retained and grade. And then below that, if you click on view report, you'll be able to capture a report that's specifically related to those areas that you are interested in. And this really gives you an opportunity to look at these important tools as you're moving along in the portal. Next, we have areas of navigations. We have our main menu, which starts with the dashboards and education focus areas from early childhood, K-12 grades, student subgroups, post-secondary, and workforce. What we're going to be focusing on today for intentions of today's webinar is the personas. We're going to spend time in the parent, policymaker, and media area. Educator is probably the one that's most populated, and we've spent a number of our webinars honing in on the educator area, but today we're going to look at the other three personas that are new to the portal. So when you start out with the navigation, you're going to select, for illustration purposes, we have selected the post-secondary main menu. With that menu, you're going to come up with, once you click that, you go to number 2, we have both of them synchronized here for illustration purposes, a landing page. Every one of these menus have a landing page. Then the third is the sub-menus within that landing page. And then most popular, recent updates, and upcoming in the fourth illustration that we have, that is going to be, what are the most popular reports that are requested in the portal? What are the recent updates? What data have we recently updated in the portal? You'll see for in this screenshot, extended COVID-19, those are updated every month, every school district's plan. So those are on a monthly basis. And then upcoming, what's in the hopper? What is the next set of data that we plan to upload into the portal based on the data that your schools have sent? So when we move into the menu landing pages, this one for illustration purposes is early childhood. So we come to the early childhood landing page, and then below that, you are going to see 5 different areas that you can click immediately on and be in that particular area. For example, early childhood program participation. You can click right there, but you can also see to the left in the submenu area, those reports or those links are also available there. Next, we have persona landing pages. Just like our menus, our personas also have landing pages. These are, again, a quick reference. It gives you easy access to what are the most important features for the audience that you're looking at. So for here, we have data insights for K-12 educators. We have our featured dashboard, what reports are connected with that, and what are the spotlighted items. This particular snapshot, this is really about inquiry. This is like Inquiry 101. So I'm going to go through these individual based on the arrows and the boxes that are highlighted. We're going to start with about this report. When you hover over, you're going to have about this report. Following under that, you're going to see overview, using this report, and about the data that's included in this report. Once you select one of those options, it will then take you to the next pull-down menu. You're going to drop down and it's going to allow you to change the inquiry. For example, these have little carrots by them at the end. What year data are you looking for? Would you please select an ISD where that data is going to be pulled from. Or you can select a category for that particular sort or inquiry that you're trying to seek. Next, we have what we call is the hamburger menu. This allows you to print or download. Notice that we have view by, images, and number employed for this particular snapshot that we're using. Those three circles mean you need to select one of those to be able to obtain the data that you're looking for within that area. So you're going to change what we call the radar button. Then below that, you have the last arrow that demonstrates, oh, I can download this report. I would like to download this data or these tables that are applicable to this particular inquiry. And then what that will do is provide you with a spreadsheet with that particular data. So again, these are the in-depth features of inquiry when you're looking at downloaded reports, whether you are looking from a policymaker, whether you are looking for, through the lens of the media. This is an area that, and you do not need a secure login, obviously.
And I appreciate that Dr. Provost has gone through the inquiry features, because a lot of these trip people up. They don't realize that there's a couple of tabs. They don't realize that those carrots or the hamburger, sounds like we're making a gourmet meal, doesn't it, Dr. Provost?
That's the lingo we've had to transition to, just like our acronyms. All right, next we're going to transition into the search feature. Again, the search feature has been enhanced. Think of it like as a Google search engine. You're able to locate, you're able to expand the results. And for purposes of this, you can see that we have the little search. We typed in GRA and look at the data that populates or reports that populate immediately. So again, these features have been enhanced. You'll also notice that you can request, do I want all of the results for college progression by graduating class? Do I want just the content? Do I want, what locations do I want? All of this is available in the new search engine feature. And then our new compare tool. This allows districts to, or users, I should say, portal inquiries to select up to 20 locations across Michigan, which you can compare then on a variety of topics. So for example, I can look at statewide, I can look at what school year I'm interested in. What are those metrics? Do I want to look at student count? Do I want to look at special ed by disability? Any of those features, you're able to select and compare up to 20 other districts. And then the 30,000-foot view, thinking of the dashboard and education focus areas. As you are aware, this is a new menu bar to the main menu. The landing page, as is, there's a snapshot there for you. These are all the dashboards that are applicable. And again, coming to this sub-menu, you're able to click here and get into these various dashboards that have been added. The fifth one was added obviously in November after the MISchoolData redesign was launched with the COVID-19. But that's our new 30,000-foot view. So I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Parker, who's going to move into the parent dashboard learning.
All righty, thanks, Dr. Provost. And just want to encourage everyone, if you guys have questions, if you want to put those in the chat box, we will handle those at the end of the broadcast. And we're going to move now into the parent component. So before we hit the parent persona, the policymaker persona, and the media persona, we're going to go into our old favorite parent dashboard, which was a part of the legacy site that has been moved into the redesign. So it has a very similar look and feel, but sometimes it trips people up because they're not sure where to find the old parent dashboard. So Dr. Provost just talked about dashboard and education focus areas as a new element of the menu across the top, not to be confused with personas. It's in the menu. You'll come down to dashboards, and then you will click on the parent dashboard, which will bring you into the legacy version of the parent dashboard. If you have not used the parent dashboard, there are 5 key elements. There's a dashboard home, a state overview, find a school, contact us, and help. And really, what you're going to do is you're going to start out by finding a school that you are interested in, or a building, or within a district. So the first part of the parent dashboard, again, there are those 5 elements across the home screen of the parent dashboard. We're going to go one by one. We will start in the dashboard home. And this is where you start your inquiry with the parent dashboard. You're going to enter in a school, a district, or a county to find out, to filter down to where you want to be. You can also use the map feature. When you search by map, it will show you the map here in a little bit, but the map actually creates graduation caps all over the map, so you can actually dig into a geographic area right down to the building level. So begin your parent dashboard tour by an inquiry with creating a search for a school. The second part of the parent dashboard is designed for you to look at your school compared to the ESSA requirements. And there are actually connections here to the top 10 strategic plan. And these are the 6 E's of the ESSA requirements that are indicated here. And at one point, they were hyperlinks to direct inquiries within the portal. You can look into early learning, engagement, effective educators or effectiveness ratings. You can look at equity, how students are exit ready, and then efficacy. And so with those 6 E's, those are located here in the state overview under the parent dashboard. And as always, we have that parent hat on. We are looking at how our school does compared to the federal guidelines. The third element of the parent dashboard is really reminiscent of what we did in the dashboard home because it looks very similar. It's actually allowing you to search by school using that search box or the menu. However, there are also additional inquiries that'll bring you in by going in to find a school. So no matter if you search using dashboard home or find a school, it'll help you filter down to the building level. The fourth section of the portal in the parent dashboard is the contact us. If you need additional assistance, a note that the parent dashboard is part of the Michigan Department of Education. And so there are some specifics that come across to CEPI through them. And if you have questions for them, that can be done here in the contact us section. And then lastly, the 5th area of the parent dashboard is dashboard help. Lots of FAQs, an opportunity to search. If you were curious about some questions, you could enter them in. Maybe you're looking for student counts or etc. You can put it in the search box, kind of like in the larger part of the MISchoolData portal, and it will filter down to your results. So those are the 5 areas of the parent dashboard. Once you have selected a school, the school will come up into your view, and you'll have a new mini menu here on the top left corner. You're going to have several sections of your view, which include the new mini menus, the demographics of your district, and some key performance indicators, as well as an opportunity to change the way the data looks or that you view the data. So again, 4 different pieces of your hit or your results from the parent dashboard. The submenus are very important because from a parent perspective, they provide a lot of information. But if you're wearing your educator hat today, be thinking about how this reflects on what people perceive as your organizational, as your organization. What do they think about your organization based on what they see here in the parent dashboard? So I would encourage you here for the next couple of moments to be thinking both as an educator and as a parent, what are the differences in the way you might view this part of the parent dashboard? So there are school services and offerings, student data, staff data, and the school index. The first section is school services and offerings. This is where you get a chance to show off what used to be called the points of pride. You were encouraged in the Education Entity Master to enter if you had AP courses, if you had career technical ed programs, if you had after school tutoring, all of these additional bells and whistles of your curriculum and instruction and offerings and services that are here listed what previously was known as points of pride. Now, when you come in here with your educator hat on, you may want to look to see specifically if things are here or if things are missing. Do a very thoughtful critique of what is listed here in school services and offerings. And Dr. Provost, can you tell them what might be a reason, or why would we not see something? Whose fault is it?
Well, at every district, there is an assigned or designated education entity master designee. Generally, it's at the central office, and that person is responsible for updating your district contact information and information such as this that would be spotlighted on behalf of your district. There are 3 collection dates a year. The last one was February 3rd. So if you miss that deadline, the next deadline is April 8th. And then the final deadline for the 2021 school year is June 30th. So we publish those dates in our talking points as reminders. So just make sure that you are making contact with that EEM person so that you have accurate data on the portal. As you can see, everyone has access to this. This is not a secure login feature.
Thank you. And so if you notice when you come into this part of the portal, if something's missing or something needs to be updated, reach back in your district to find out the person that does your EEM and give them the information they need so they can update what is in EEM, and it will land here in the parent dashboard under school services and offerings. The next element of the submenu in the parent dashboard is all about student data. And again, this is public. This is what parents can see. They can see behavior, performance, progress, graduation, and college and career readiness. All that information is able to be searchable. It's searchable, and it shows up as key performance indicators in 8 of the different various graphs. The staff data that you can get to as a parent is you're able to see student to staff ratios, the number of non-instructional staff, the teacher years of experiences or the average teacher years of experiences, teacher retention, and then qualified teaching staff. I would like to let you know it's a very important point for people to understand that this does not name the teacher's name. There is no indication of lists of staff or any information regarding that can be connected back to the educator's name. These are all just ratios, averages, and statistics that CEPI does for an organization. So I'm going to come
in the chat.
Okay.
How would one go about finding a school that's offering world language programs?
So how you would do that is you can go into school services and offerings. And if you are looking at a specific school to find out if they offer the world language, that would be how you would use the parent dashboard. The only way you would find out for world language offerings in the portal, the only other connection that we have is career technical ed searchability. There's not really an opportunity for you to search for world languages as a course unless you are specifically looking at a district itself or a building. That's a great question. And that would be a great recommendation for future contents in the portal. Stan and Rhonda and I will take that back. So to kind of finish up a little bit more with the student data, we'll circle back here to student data, where many of our parents are interested in how our students perform, but they also might want to be looking at neighboring districts or schools that are like them. So there are 2 comparisons that have been built into the parent dashboard. This first one is the student characteristics, and then there's also one by distance. So I'll show you what those look like. So when you're trying to compare your school to people that are like you, there are 4 criteria that CEPI uses to determine who is most like you. And those are listed on the far right-hand side, from the number of students to the student-teacher ratio, to the free and reduced lunch numbers, to school spending. So when those are compared, it will you'll come up with, they usually give you 30 similar, up to 30 schools. So you put in your school district and you'll see the 30 in the state that are most like you. Real nice feature and very nice comparison. The second way you can compare in the parent dashboard is by using distance. And many parents that are interested in, being closer to where they work or schools of choice conversations or maybe just geography in general would look at the closest 30 schools based on distance. So those are the two comparisons that are available, and those are out there in the parent dashboard. So with that said, that is the parent dashboard. It is located in the education and dashboard and education focus areas of the menu. And if there's any questions, you guys feel free to continue to put those in the chat box. But I'm going to move on to the parent personas, which is the first of the three personas that we're going to talk about today. So we're really continuing on past using these menus here and getting into parent dashboard. We're now going to get into the personas and take a look at parents. So the parent persona landing page, when you come into this, it looks like the landing pages from the menu. It has a lot of the elements that Dr. Provost talked about earlier, from those data snapshots to the map feature to some trending tabs where you can move through the tabs. There are also connections to other areas of the portal. So each one of these persona pages has a little different look and feel based on what is the hat that you're wearing. So the parent persona landing page has some featured dashboards and data snapshots, some trending, testing, reporting, data file downloads, and then some comparison features. So really, when you come in here, it is because you are wearing that parent hat, or possibly you are a foster parent or a guardian who is interested in looking at information about the school or the schools that are in your area, or possibly within the area that you hope to move to or live in. Some of the pieces that are included in this part of the portal include the parent dashboard. You can get to that here. Those data snapshots. There's also some FAQs. There's some connections to the ASCD's whole child model, which was being examined as part of continuous improvement. And then the trending now. What's hot in education that a parent might be interested in? It also gives you some data snapshots. So for example, if I'm a middle school parent, I may be looking at some 7th or 8th grade assessment information. Maybe I'm the parent of a special ed student and I'm interested in where can my student get services, or what districts have programs that support have students on the spectrum for autism. Maybe I'm looking at a high school that has some high college readiness scores, or maybe I'm looking to see what kind of CTE programs that they have. So there are data snapshots of Michigan that are on that parent persona page that can quickly connect you with some data sets to help inform you as a parent. We've looked at earlier the map feature, and you'll see this in all of the personas, an opportunity for you to use the map, hone in on where you live, click on it, and it will bring you into a map feature. There's also FAQs, the whole child conversation, and the trending now. So before we leave the parent persona, I want to remind you of several of the questions that in education we field from our parents when we are talking about their students and the data that surrounds them. When you get into the parent portal, the parent dashboard, or the parent persona, there are certain data snapshots that will tell a story about your students and the area that they live in. You can look at attendance. You can look at the school index to see how that district compares. You might look at some indicators of achievement and how well the students are doing with the student growth in comparison to their goals. And lastly, there are some how-to videos on how to move through the portal that are also some great examples. So parent dashboard, parent persona, great resources for parents to dig in. Feel free to use any of the materials we've shared with your PTA or beyond. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Provost, and we're going to dig into the second persona, the policymakers persona.
So when we think about policymakers, what audience potentially could see this as an advantage, this particular persona area? Think about your local school board members. What about county board members for our 56 ISDs? We also have local, county, and state government officials. This is an area where it's specifically designed for that audience to be able to collect data from the site without a secure login. In the menu for purposes of this webinar, we're gonna focus more in now on the actual information that has been populated for our policymaker persona. With the landing page, we went over the landing page earlier. It includes the snapshots of Michigan at large. What are some of the questions that policymakers may have? What about our schools at a glance? We've had this feature even in the legacy site. What are the requested data sets that policymakers may be trying to get to? What about a location? As I mentioned, policymakers represent different portions of our communities. So what might be of interest to them? Are they interested in the financial data? These are all areas that may be of interest to a policymaker. So what they can do is use the portal to access the information. As I mentioned, no login or secure sign-in is necessary. It's all available on the public domain. They can find information related to early childhood, K-12 grades, student subgroups, post-secondary, and workforce data. When we are connecting our policymakers to the audience with contents, features, and reports, here are some examples of snapshots. So for example, what is the pre-K participation? This is at a statewide level, but maybe I want to hone in on what is the data for my county, or for many of our programs are run by the county, but what are the programs and the student numbers for my particular program at a local level? These are all areas that could be defined based on what searches you're interested in. So we can look at trend. We can also click on the name to narrow down the report, and also provide subgroups. We've done subgroup reports in other webinars, but that subgroup can really give you a lot of information quickly if you're looking at it through a policymaker lens. And then, as Dr. Parker mentioned, state initiatives. We're all hoping for academic achievement to be in a proficient status with our children. We want to make sure that the instruction that we're informing is based on the data that we've received and programs that we initiate to improve our outcomes with students. And so many times on a state lens, you may be looking at, here's our comparison to the state, here's our comparison to the county, what programs are we offering, what programs are other districts offering that are working. Those are all ways that we can capture information to search by a search engine to be able to see opportunities that may be into the future with teaching and learning. And then also, one of the top policymaker questions contains answers to questions of high interest to policymakers. So for example, the portal has already populated how many children are participating in early childhood that are coming into kindergarten. What is the demographic information? How does that participation in early childhood affect absenteeism? And then what early childhood programs are being offered and how many are publicly funded? So all of these are available and can be searched by a district or intermediate school district level for that particular policymaker based on their interest or need. And then you can also look at it from the other pull down menus as well. That was just one example. So another area is the financial, comprehensive financial reports that are available and districts upload for the portal to be able to capture in terms of reports and financial transparency dashboards. This allows you to look at your revenues from a historical lens, whatever the expenditures been, fund balances, schools of choice, and then students that enter and leave, and there's just many more reports that are available. We were talking earlier about, for example, transportation. This might not necessarily be a policy inquiry, but it could be where you have a very large geographic area and your transportation costs are much greater than a district that maybe has a 3-mile radius with transportation. So those are just some comparative reports that you can obtain from the financial area of the portal.
And as a policymaker, we're thinking these are like legislators who are digging into the district finances to see, is there equity across the different districts that are in my service area? Or it may be used as a lobbying point from a school administrator to come back at a policymaker to say, you know, here are the equities or inequities with regards to finances or staffing or programs or services. But that's kind of a nice way to frame it, is with the equity question.
Yeah, and you know, we do collect that teacher to student ratio data. So that is very evident to all of the data that's collected from the local level and provided in the portal. And then looking at the Our Schools at a glance, looking at every school district, and this also includes, you know, your charter schools that are within this legislative district. So you can visit the dashboard to obtain that information. And then in order to get the overview, it allows you to search. You can, you know, go to that search engine, or you can go to the map with the graduation caps. Those are all searchable areas for a legislature.
And this Our Schools at a Glance was where the legislator conversation really started. This was one of the most popular areas of the portal back in the legacy site, because our legislators were coming there to get a snapshot of their service area and what was staffing and student performance and et cetera. So that Our Schools at a Glance is a great place for policymakers to go.
And another example I'll just very quickly share is many districts that at the central office level, superintendent, board of education, that work on strategic plans and say they contract with MASB or a third-party agency to help facilitate that strategic planning. All of the data that they obtain for that planning session is from the MISchoolData portal. I know for myself from working at Eden that that's what we did. So just sharing. All right, so moving into this particular area where you can see, for example, the graduation rate. This current data is as of 2018-19. And then we just move across where you can look at your K-12 enrollment trend, your enrollment by school year, how many of those percentage of colleges students were enrolled in college, 0 to 6 months, and then economically disadvantaged, that's another example. But you can really see that if you select to and find your school, you can search for one of these areas in every venue that's available. So
And
it's
these are
basically by the name and the range.
And these are directly from that Our Schools at a Glance. And what a great snapshot this provides. And I believe, Dr. Provost, doesn't this show 5-year trends? Each one of these
Yes.
shows a 5-year trend. So
Yes.
what a great way for a snapshot for a legislator to find out what's happening in the districts that they serve.
And the reporting mechanism is, you know, there's some bar charts, bar graphs, there's some, you know, other line graphs. It's whatever you select when you obtain the report. So then just a reminder that there's a lot of data here, and we know that data tells the story. But what is the real story? If you feel like there's something missing or there's data missing, to put your story in wholeness, follow up with your superintendent or your EEM contact, because that is the person that really is the responsible party as a designee of your district in terms of the EEM. And then I went over this a little bit. This is a larger screenshot about this report, the overview using the report, and about the data. This is under the using the report. You can see clearly here that these options allow you to see more information about where that data comes from, why, if there's any missing, why it might be important, or what the number means, so that you're able to make sure that your district's information is accurate on the portal. And then just some helpful hints. So you might want to email or send a report to someone. You can see that little share button there. If you click on that, it'll allow you to copy and paste that link and share that out. What about I want to print a report that's in a spreadsheet? You can download it. You can see there's a print option there. There's a PDF, or you can obtain the report in a spreadsheet format. And then last, here are some inquiries that we just thought would be relevant in terms of a policymaker. Maybe the representative from your district wants to know, what is the largest enrollment of all the districts? Say I have 21 districts. What if I only have 4? What about if I'm looking at the highest rate of economically disadvantaged students? How about a percentage of students that participated in an early childhood program? Early childhood programs are only the child must be UIC'd in order for that program to be part of the CEPI data. So in other words, private preschool or parochial schools are obviously not in this data. What about CTE programs? Does this affect my district? What is my intermediate offering? Some local school districts still offer high quality CTE programs. What are they? And then another example might be, what percent of students in the school enrolled in college within 6 months of graduation? So again, getting to that goal of that career and college readiness and our completers being successful graduates, this data is also available after they leave the K-12 environment.
And for sure, our legislators are definitely looking at, as bills are coming across the floor or coming to their desks to be reviewed. For example, manufacturing initiatives. If you're looking in your service area for career tech ed programs where they've got robotics or manufacturing or design, the legislators have a definite opportunity here to review what are the programs being offered in their geographic area. And how might some of the bills that they're looking at and their votes, how might those impact the local schools? So with that, I'm going to take over and take us into the last persona on the tour of personas, and that is the media persona. And you'll find the media persona here as the last stop on the persona train. The media persona is designed to give you kind of an overview. If you were a media professional, if you were a newspaper reporter or a journalist in some way, shape, or form, or perhaps you are creating a blog, or you are a policy writer or a journalist writing about ed tech trends or educational trends. So the media persona landing page comes in and has, obviously, again, those areas on that landing page that specifically a media person would be interested in, from dashboards and snapshots to what's trending. Of course, journalists are interested in the state testing reports and the trends there. Sometimes they send emails to CEPI to download data sets so they can further review the data, sort the data, disaggregate the data. And when they are writing their articles, they definitely need to cite CEPI as the source of the information. And lastly, one of the key reasons that media personnel come to the persona page is to make comparisons. And we know that Dr. Provost shared with you the compare feature in the portal, and that is directly linked here on the media page, so they can get to that and compare up to 20 entities within an area. So again, the media persona is a quick way for media professionals to get access to what's hot or what's current in PK20. There is information anywhere from student counts to assessments to enrollment in programming. The trending now and featured reports, as you've seen in the past, they have a similar look and feel, but again, they are customized and tailored for this particular persona. The featured dashboards and data snapshots have been curated to the most popular requests. And yes, some of them are FOIA requests, but what are some of the most popular requests made by media professionals that have landed here in the portal? So, for example, student enrollment, schools of choice data, counts, and then subgroups. The state testing report are one of the most popular downloads for our for the media area. You'll notice that they've hyperlinked to the 3A testing, college readiness, high school testing, and student growth, and then the top 30, bottom 30. You can also use the find location just to hone in on your area if you choose to. So they try to make it really easy for a journalist to access some of the most popular information in state testing and reporting. And here is the example of the education map that we've been waiting for. Again, you can use this map. It's anywhere from the parent dashboard all throughout the portal. Anytime you come into the map, you can put in your search term, or you can hone in on the map with your mouse, click on a specific area, and voila, the graduation caps pop up. The example here is for Jackson Public Schools. You'll notice it's got fun facts. It's also got related locations and to explore and compare features. And you can also drop down and change your inquiry settings. So the education map has a little different look and feel to the way you're going to slice and dice your data, but it is a great feature in here. And this is the spotlight here in the media persona. There are several featured reports, as we mentioned previously. Media is very interested annually with graduation and dropout rates. They also do a lot of reporting on attendance, as well as demographics and subgroups. The data file download, as was mentioned previously, you are able to download certain data files that are publicly available or available by FOIA. They've made it pretty simple for media folks to come here, click on the data files section of the persona. It brings them here for them to use the carrots to change their inquiry settings and then generate their report, which will generate an email. Or they can use the share feature and just grab the link or download and print. So some repeated functionality that's consistent throughout the site to have a similar look and feel. And then lastly, we often have journalists asking, well, when are the new assessment scores coming out? When are the count data going to be launched? Now, directly on the media page, you can go to report updates and see what's been recently posted or coming soon. This is CEPI's way of updating the public, not only the media, but the public in what's coming or what they have done recently. And then lastly, that compare tool, the 20 up to the 20 entities. Many of our media folks want to compare districts to keep it real. And lastly, the guidance on the citing, sources, and searching. So from a media perspective, if I'm a journalist, there are lots of pieces of the portal that I might be interested in. For example, I might find out which school has the largest enrollment, compare student assessment scores, look where early childhood programs are. I might want to find out who has career technical ed, building trades programs, or cosmetology. I might compare graduation rates or trends in attendance or schools of choice. Or lastly, I might be interested in making a cover story about comparing school salaries for administrators or teachers across districts. So those are some media questions. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Dr. Provost and she will close us out.
All right, we have a couple questions in the chat.
All righty.
Do you have that up or do you want me to recite them?
I still have the slide deck up.
I'm sorry. All right, the first question is, in the parent dashboard, we can get a list of and compare similar schools. Oftentimes, educators and policymakers may want this at the district level. Is there a place in MISchoolData that creates a list of similar districts using the same characteristics?
So in the parent dashboard, you are able to compare your building to to similar buildings within, so elementaries compare to elementaries across those demographics, but there is not a way to compare district to district in the comparison feature specifically unless you use the compare tool. You can try using the compare tool because you can compare county to county, building to building, etc. So I would use the compare tool in the education and dashboard.
Okay. Second question, where does MISchoolData draw legislative boundary data from to populate the school district assignments on the site? They're often not accurate.
I do not work for CEPI, so I cannot answer that question, but I'm happy to send that on to CEPI as a question of inquiry. I would make an assumption that they are the commonly understood geographic boundaries for districts, but I'm not sure. It's a good question.
Okay. All right, I think I've captured all the questions. Okay, all right, well, let's close it. At the onset of the presentation today, Dr. Parker mentioned about follow up with your region. I know we have Stan with us today from region, the Kent area region, Green region. Please feel free to follow up with any of your contacts across the state. They are very resourceful and can help you in any of the presentations that you may need or customization with training that you might want in your local area. We also have ongoing professional development opportunities. As we mentioned, our webinar series, we have 19 scheduled for the school year. We plan many more over the summer. Our connections are listed there. You can click right into the bottom left-hand corner. We have the remaining 4 that are on the schedule between now and May 4th. Our professional toolkit is also on the MISchoolData.org. We didn't really go into that area of the portal today, but it's the top black bar under support and professional development training toolkit. We publish a monthly talking points for school leaders. That is also linked there. And then we also are part of a broader Train the Trainer network that helps develop our materials that we are sharing with you today. So here's a snapshot of our upcoming webinars between now and May 4th. Stay tuned as we begin to launch more for the summer. And also EduPaths is, Dr. Parker and Dr. Lockman from Westman Missaukee, representing the Orange region, have been our EduPath gurus and have 4 lessons that will be launched in March under the new MISchoolData redesign. So stay tuned for that. At the conclusion of today's session, you are eligible to earn 1 Sketchy. What we ask of you is to click this unique attendance link. Please fill in all of the columns that are applicable to today's session, answer questions, and then you will be able to download the actual PDF document. Please make a copy and complete that to earn your 1.0 sketch for today. If you have any questions regarding the completion of that, please email our sketchy contact at Macomb ISD, Angie Cheerio. And more information. If you have any more information regarding our resources, please feel free to visit the Professional Development Toolkit on the main page of the portal. Technical questions can be referred to CEPI for further help desk responses. And for the MyLogin third party, visit the MyLogin help page. If you need technical help with your login for activation, please follow up with your contact at your ISD. And any questions related to the TTT network, please follow up with Dr. Jennifer Parker at Macomb or Kathleen Miller at Shiawassee RESD. On behalf of our entire ISD partner team, we thank you for attending today's session. And thank you for all you do for our students, families, and our educators during these very difficult times of teaching and learning. And please stay safe.